Hello, everyone. Hello. I am excited that I was able to make it on here live. I had to create a new event because I must have done something in setting up the prior event that did not allow my camera to connect. So here I am, not on the link that I intended to be, but happy to be here to share with you some ideas that I had and wanted to share. I'm Whitney Marema. I am the co-founder of the Bariatric Success Method, and I wanted to share with you today a little bit about my personal journey, and also to get you thinking a little bit about your own personal journey. The idea of staying stuck and what that actually costs us and what it creates for us in our lives is something that we need to consider. What is the cost of being stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in and doing nothing about it? That's what I want to have a conversation about today. I know what it meant for me when I finally really fully admitted to myself that the way I was doing things was having multiple negative effects on me. And so perhaps today I can give you that same clarity. Maybe your situation is that you came to a weight plateau before you were ready to stop losing. Or maybe it's that you put on some weight, or maybe you even put most of your weight back on. In any of those scenarios, you took the first step in taking action by joining this group and coming or watching today's live and consuming the content that's posted by myself and other people that are in the same shoes as you. But staying stuck here has a price, even if it's nothing to do with money. I felt like this was kind of an important conversation because my job as a coach and as a leader is to inspire people. Sometimes part of helping someone take action requires me to act as a mirror and reflect back to them what's really going on, like really going on. Not just kind of what they're saying on the surface, but what they're not saying and what lies a little bit deeper. And so what I'm kind of talking about is really digging deeper and kind of getting out of that head in the sand, I'm fine approach that so many of us, including me, like to take. So, what I'm really asking is for you to take a second and think about the question of how are you really? I know that the people that I serve are, for the most part, in pain. Sure, some people are here because, they're curious or they want to prevent issues before they start, and all of that's great. But the people that I talk to, the people that are really reaching out for help, they're suffering. And I know that because I talk to them and they tell me the price that they're paying to stay stuck either where they currently are and not losing, still remaining obese, and all of that, the physical ailments that brings, or gaining weight and the fear and physical issues that brings. So I know all about it because I was there once too. I know that I would really love to hear from anyone in the comments. People watching this back on the replay, I would love to hear your comments too. But I would love for you to type in the chat or in the comments box, what price are you paying right now for not having a solution that's working for you to lose weight and maintain it? That is the question that I'm asking of you today, because sometimes we don't think about it. We don't want to think about it because it's painful, right? Of course, we would rather go about saying to ourselves, I'm fine, I'm better than I was before I had my surgery. Everything is fine. And so asking us to kind of spend a moment reflecting on all the things that are not fine is discomfort. It causes some discomfort. But I thought maybe I'll tell you the price that I paid when I was stuck. And maybe that will help get your thoughts flowing or get your fingers typing. Um, I my price was really a rock bottom self-esteem. I think part of that was because my bariatric surgery journey I made pretty public. Um, I was a nurse at the time caring for bariatric patients. So I thought, of course, that I was going to do amazingly well because I knew what I needed to know. That I knew the pitfalls and I would be sure to avoid them. Um, I knew the way through it, and so I was going to document my journey because I wanted to show them that I could be a role model, and that I thought it would just be something super interesting and helpful, kind of like just an online education in a fun way. So there I was, not losing weight after about 4 months or so after my procedure, and still fat. Um, and technically, I looked better. I'd lost 50 or 60 pounds. Um, I, maybe I looked better, but I didn't feel better. I felt worse, actually. I mean, I had this sense of kind of doom because I had permanently altered my body and did not get the result that I wanted. And so that brought a lot of just discomfort to me. And I kind of had this feeling that I couldn't, if I couldn't succeed at this, something that I knew so well, how could I succeed in anything else? If I couldn't control my own body, how could I control, anything else that I set out to do? So I had just finished nurse practitioner schooling at the time, but basically stayed in the job that I've been in, and did not seek out, advancement, did not seek out other opportunities. And actually, at the time, I kind of had a negative relationship with alcohol because I felt so poorly. And as we know, using food as an option for coping was no longer available. And so my relationship with wine took a turn for the worse. So I tell you all that just to tell you that, you know, there was a big price for me. It was another problem that I had to deal with, which was my drinking was not at an appropriate level. And that was another issue that I had to cope and figure out. My self esteem was terrible. I felt like an imposter at my job. And basically, from a spiritual standpoint, all of that was too much for me to bear. Um, I was staying small, I was not taking risks. And I had to fix myself. And that meant that I would need to take real serious action. Whatever it took, I had to have this approach that I was going to do what I needed to do, whatever that meant. And I did it over and over again every day. And it wasn't always perfect. It sometimes wasn't even good, but I committed to it every day. And whether it was perfect or not, I took a step forward. So that was the price for inaction for me. What is the price for inaction for you? As I talk to many people, and whether it's in my clinic or on the phone with potential clients, um, I definitely get a lot of kind of feedback. But if you think about it, is the price being consumed with fear and stress of not knowing what to eat, how this food is going to affect you? Is it that you have so much energy wrapped up in this desire to lose weight and this obsession with food and fat that you have little room for other creative things, for planning your life, for advancing your life, for being present with your family? Is it you experience social anxiety because you worry about what people are saying about you or if they're talking behind your back? And maybe you're being held back from a social standpoint, maybe not socializing like you want to or once did. I know that played a role for me as well, and just kind of like wanting to stay home and not venture out because I didn't want to show off my new, not amazing body. Are you constantly, are you feeling, this kind of like lack of freedom to be intimate with your partner because you're consumed with negative self talk that gets in your way of being present? So, those are some of the things that we have to think about, what the cost of not taking the steps we need to fix this problem, and kind of think about, is it keeping you held back from advancing your career or going back to school, taking up a new hobby that you want to take up? Um, or is it something simple like being a role model in your family, being a role model for your kids? My real driving force for getting my shit together was that I did not want my kids to see me so dysfunctional. Not eating healthfully, the negative spiral of things that I would say, the not wanting to socialize when once I did socialize a lot, all of those things I knew my kids were picking up on, and I did not want to have that burden for them to carry as well. So just, you know, is it holding you back from asking what you need from people because you're too afraid to speak up? Use your voice because you feel you're not worthy? Time not being with the grandkids or kids because you feel blah or depressed? I think that, sharing these ideas is just meant for stimulation for you to really be honest with yourself that maybe things aren't fine, that there is a cost to staying stuck here, and that by acknowledging it, you're beginning to formulate those very important whys for change that I always talk about. Because we definitely have to get to the bottom of our whys, and they have to be very strong, because if we're going to take meaningful action and we're going to take it in a big way, then we have to be very clear about our whys. And as you've heard me say before, when our whys are bigger than our fears, then our level of commitment and personal responsibility for action is heightened. And this is the biggest and most important step in carrying you through doing the work that is required in order for you to step into the best version of yourself. The one that you secretly dream about and tell no one, because the fear of not bringing that person to life is too much to bear. So that's what I wanted to share today, just to get your thoughts going and to, maybe just not to make you feel pain, but maybe just to really kind of make you think for the first time in a while that, are you fine really? Or is there a cost to the situation that you find yourself in? And is that cost high enough that you're ready to really change your situation? So here you are, admitting it silently or in the comments. But either way, you're moving out of the stage of contemplation into preparation. And preparation is where we begin to plan out our action steps. So I hope this conversation allows you to consider all the ways in which staying currently stuck, if that is where you are right now, is negatively impacting you, because then you're able to feel inspired and motivated that you're not going to settle there. And you can do like I did and use that discomfort and pain to serve as motivation to take action towards change. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you feel like you're not sure what changes you need, but you know that what I'm talking about is hitting you some way, just reach out to me in the PMs and I'll do my best to guide you in helping you figure it out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day and week. Bye-bye.